I know you've been waiting for a long time now for me to comment on the Russian military intervention in Ukraine. The way there was a military intervention in Syria, it's quite the same. A military intervention in Syria and now a military intervention in Ukraine. And it's been now about 13, almost 2 weeks now that this military intervention has been taking place, and it's going to last for some time because there's no indication that the Zionist resistance in Ukraine is ever going to seek peace. They're just like ISIS in Syria. They will fight until the very end, until you defeat them and you corner them, and still they will not give up. So there's no difference between the resistance in Ukraine, which is not all the Ukrainian people. It is the core which is resisting on behalf of the state of Israel. And you've been waiting for me to comment on it. And I want to begin with this Arab proverb that I'd like you to memorize. I want to start with it, and please remind me, Hira, to end with it as well. My daughter is here recording the video for me. This is the proverb. Al-kafilatu tasir. The caravan is moving on. وَالْكِلَابُ تَنْبَحْ. And the dogs keep on barking. Despite the dogs keep on barking, the caravan keeps on moving on. This caravan led by Orthodox Christian Russia is moving on. And no matter how much the dogs can keep on barking, no matter how many there may be, the caravan will keep on moving on. That's how I want to begin this talk. You cannot stop this caravan, not with your useless economic and monetary sanctions. That's foolishness. Economic and monetary sanctions are not only sinful, disapproved of by the Lord God, but eventually you will cut your nose to spite your face. It will rebound against you, and you will harm the one you're trying to harm, but you'll also harm yourself. So this is not going to stop the caravan from moving on. Get that message clear in Ukraine. No matter what they do, they cannot stop this caravan from moving on. All the criticism that you levy against Russia, do what you want, you cannot stop this caravan from moving on. That is the first point I want to make. The second point I want to make is that this is the reason why I have delayed offering comments so far. Because the background to what is happening in Ukraine, I've already explained it extensively. How many years ago, I can't count, maybe 2015, 2016 perhaps, when I was still in Malaysia. So that background you've already understood. I don't need to go back to it. What is important now, however, is that while Russia declared again and again and again and again, we have no intention of invading Ukraine. We have no intention. We have the freedom to move our troops within our territory as we wish. However, Russia said, we have a red line, don't cross that red line. And Russia warned again and again, don't cross the red line. Our red line is that Ukraine must not become a member of NATO, because security is something that is universal. Your security and my security are all interconnected. There's mutuality in security. There's no isolation in security. And a Ukraine which is hostile to us, not like Finland, not like Sweden, not like Poland, which is militarily hostile and which is waging war on a people who are Russian-speaking people, who don't want to accept the color revolution, $6 billion worth of a color revolution, and all kind of snipers killing people and murdering people in order to bring regime change in Ukraine 2040. Shame on you, shame on you, shame on you, you Zionists who did what you did in 2014 with all your nakedness exposed. And these people said, we don't want to be a part of that. And because of that, in the Donbass region where people were loyal to the Orthodox Christian faith and who were Russian speaking, and for 7 years you've been persecuting them, terrorizing them, you've been oppressing them with much the same oppression that there is in Palestine, no different, with much the same oppression that there is in Kashmir, no different, with much the same oppression that there is in Yemen. No difference. The difference here, however, is that the oppressed in Kashmir, the oppressed in Yemen, they don't have a superpower like Russia nearby. And Allah has given an order in the Quran with which we begin. This is Allah's law. And our comment at the beginning of this address is that you can have whatever international law you have when you coin, but the moral law is the highest law. And power must be used in the world to resist oppression and to liberate the oppressed. Shall I repeat that for the schoolboys? This is Allah's word. This is the Quran. Allah speaks in the Surah Al-Anfal of the Quran, and we will translate it for our Orthodox Christian brothers who I know are longing to listen to what I have to say. This is what the Lord God says in the Quran. He asked, "Ba'da'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Wama lakum, what's wrong with you?" This is his words. These are his words. Wama lakum, what's wrong with you? He's talking to those who have the power to be able to resist the oppressor and to struggle by whatever means necessary to liberate the oppressed from oppression. Oh, if Malcolm was alive, Malcolm will be able to explain this verse of the Quran much more beautifully than I can. May Allah grant to Malcolm X a house in Jannah. وَمَا لَكُمْ, وَمَا لَكُمْ, what's wrong with you? لَا تُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Why don't you rise up and fight? Use whatever weapons you have to use. Use power to fight, to liberate the oppressed. Al-mustad'afina min al-rijali wal-nisa'i wal-wildan. Men, women, children. الذين يقولون ربنا أخرجنا من هذه القرية الظالم أهلها. Liberate us, O Allah. Take us out of this place of oppression with wicked people. This is what Donbass was for 7 long years. And now you're crying crocodile tears? Huh? Don't you have any memory in your head? For 7 years or more, these people have been suffering in Donbass. Why? Because they said, we resist, we reject your color revolution that you finance with some $6 billion with Zionist snipers killing people in order to bring about a color revolution in Ukraine, in order to change the government of Ukraine to get one that is favorable to Israel. Don't you have any shame in your heads? Because these people resisted that, and they had the right to resist it. These people don't want to wage war on Russia, they are Russian speaking. And these people for 7 years they were suffering, and Russia showed incredible patience for 7 years. Russia has the power to do something about it. We don't have the power to liberate Kashmir at this time. We don't have the power to liberate Palestine at this time. We don't have the power to liberate Yemen at this time, but we will have the power tomorrow. But today Russia has the power, and Russia has been warning and warning and warning and warning, don't cross the red line. And when they did cross the red line, Russia has intervened, and praise be to Allah that Russia is acting on the basis of this verse of the Quran, whether you like it or don't. This is Allah's command in the Quran. Why don't you rise up and fight to liberate the oppressed? Who are crying for help. وَجَعَلْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا وَجَعَلْ لَنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ نَصِيرًا. Send someone to help us, send someone to liberate us. And this is what Russia did. This is what Russia did. So Russia is acting. You can take your international law and throw it in the garbage bin, because the highest law is Allah's law. The highest law is the moral law. And the moral law requires you to build power to liberate.